Today, we're talking about a swim bait trick that was so effective that even with a cold front and heavily pressured waters, I was still able to catch fish after fish. And best of all, it's so simple to do. Stick around, we're going to talk all about it. Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one. Come on, you. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing. And if you ask most anglers, they'll tell you spring is their absolute favorite time of the year to go fishing. And there's a little wonder why. You catch numbers of fish and you can also catch your PB. Between the pre-spawn and the spawn, the fishing can really be good. And everybody knows this. So each time you head out to your favorite fishery, you're dealing with more and more anglers competing for those same fish. It can really ratchet up that fishing pressure, which can hurt the bite. Now you couple that with the extreme weather swings that we always see in spring. Some days you have bright blue skies and it's nice and warm. And then the very next day, it's stormy, it's cold, and the wind and the rain, and it's a completely different type of day. Now you put all that together, and even in the spring, we can have some days that are a real grind. And you feel like you're missing the boat, that you're missing the most productive time of the year because situations and circumstances just aren't cooperating with you. But I found a bait, a swim bait hack that worked so well for me. It's a minor adjustment. It's a minor tweak that everyone can do, and it doesn't really cost very much money to do this. As a matter of fact, you probably have everything on hand, especially if you're an old school angler like I am. But before we get into that, if you like bass fishing content that tries to be inclusive, whether you're fishing from a boat or whether you're fishing from the bank, and always with a mind on budget, because not everyone's got a lot of money to spend on bass fishing gear, well, click that subscribe button down below. This is the channel for you. And while you're down there, give this video a like. I would really appreciate it. So what am I talking about? What is this amazing swim bait hack? Well, I'm going to tell you all about it, but first we're going to take a look at how it came about. We're going to talk about the situation that presented itself. And as they say, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So that's what it came about being. Now, I headed out to the water recently, and I've been fishing a wake bait. I've been fishing those 6 cents wake baits, and it didn't matter if it was sunny, didn't matter if it was windy. In that chop, I was getting some nice bites. And last time out at the big lake was no exception. I tied on that wake bait, I went to work, and on the very first cast, well, this is what happened. We've got the old 6 cents wake bait, speed weight tied on. I'm going to try it through here a little bit. Keeping it nice and slow. Oh, I almost had him. Let's see if I can get back in there. Had to blow up on the first cast. Well, that's promising. Got him. Wow, phooey. Dude, you tried to get me. You tried to get me, you little booger. I don't know, about a pound. Right at about a pound. Nice little fish. Thank you very much, dude. All right, let's keep on going. See if we can get more. Nice little fish. Not huge, but when that happens, you get a blow up on the very first bite. You know, the first time you make a cast with that bait, and you get excited for the rest of the day. You say, okay, finally I'm going to have a breakthrough. But that wasn't to be the case. I fished that bait probably for about another hour, hour and a half, and I didn't get anything. Whatever happened with that little fish, you know, that was the only taker. That was the only one in the line for that particular bait. So I started to think to myself, well, what do we have here? What's going on? What can I fish instead? What can I change to that might get those bass a little bit more activated? And I thought, well, we got a lot of stained water. We've just had a whole bunch of rain, and there's a lot of stain in the water, almost like chocolate milk. it's very, very windy, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky. So naturally, I gravitated toward a spinnerbait. Great springtime bait. You spin these by timber, you can run them down the bank, you can slow roll them, and it's a very, very effective presentation, especially during the spring, because bass are chasing those schools of bait fish. That's what I tied on. A lot of you, if you've been watching the channel for any length of time, especially the past year, you know that I have rediscovered the magic of a spinnerbait, and 2024 was, as I called it, the year of the spinnerbait because of all the fish that I caught. But the thing is it wasn't giving me the results that I needed. I was getting follows. In fact, I was getting 2 and 3 bass following that spinnerbait in, but they were not committing to it. I was thinking to myself, okay, did I not have the right color? Did I not have the right blades? And I thought, you know what? It's kind of cool out here today. There's a whole bunch of boats around me. I had kayaks around me. I had 3 other boats fishing in the same area. I had 2 guys that were live scoping within 100 yards of where I was. And I thought, let's go smaller. Let's try something smaller. And that's when the idea started to click. See, a while ago, I took this guy right here. This is just an old beetle spin, right? An old Johnson beetle spin. You get these for, 80 cents or so at Walmart. They're still super cheap. And if you spent any amount of time growing up fishing back in the day, back in the 70s and 80s like I did, well, this was a mainstay of your tackle box, wasn't it? They were cheap, they were easy to get, and they caught fish. All kinds of fish. Bluegill, crappie, bass. These things just worked. So I wanted that spinning presentation, and I wanted it in a smaller package like a beetle spin. But the thing about a beetle spin is they come with these little grub trailers. They don't have any action to them at all. They're just like sticks coming through the water. So essentially, you're basing everything around that spin. But I wanted a little bit more than that, so I combined it with this. This is a Rapala Crush City. This is called the Mayor. This is the 3.5-inch variety, I believe. These are great. These are fast becoming my favorite swim bait. But it doesn't have to be this. Rage Swimmer, Kitech, H2O Express, whatever you like best, try taking a smaller version of that and putting it on that beetle swim. And that's what I have right here. I just took a swim bait head. This is one that I had. This is an 1/8 ounce head. And I put a beetle swim bait on there, a beetle spin bait on there. And this is actually a saltwater assassin swim bait because, well, that's what I had. I'd run out of the Rapala ones, so this is the only one that I had in my tackle box. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if I was using the Rapala one. It didn't matter if I was using this one. Whenever I started casting this around, well, this is what happened almost immediately. All right, we're going to throw the old little beetle swim around just a little bit. The old beetle swim. A little bit more open water, but we still got a whole bunch of stain. To see what we can do. I feel it coming through the hydrillumma. Let go of my thing. Let go of my thingama. What's it? This water is certainly chocolate milk today. Very, very stained. Oops, come on, I just got a bite. Got him! I got him. The old beetle swim. That's what we needed today so far. That's a good fish, too. Come here, little buddy. Come here, little buddy. Wow, he choked it, too. He absolutely choked that. Good little fish, too. Nice 1.5-pound bass, beautiful bass, beautiful, beautiful bass. But that's a beautiful little bass. We got it on the beetle swim. Let's see if we can do some more with that. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. So what? Second cast, and I had a nice fish. So I was getting follows, I was getting some interest, and that is what convinced them to commit to my bait. By going smaller, by going less intrusive, I still had some flash, I still had some thump, and I still had that swim bait presentation on there. And that's exactly what those bass were looking for. And I had other guys around me. They saw me catching fish. I could not hide it. And of course, they're going to start creeping up. But they weren't throwing what I was throwing. I saw a guy throwing an A-rig. I saw another guy throwing a great big glide bait, which I actually was tempted to start out with a glide bait. I had brought them with me, but I decided, discretion's the better part of valor and all of that. So what am I doing with these that's so different? Well, again, it's just, if you look here, this is just a regular swim bait head. It's all that is. It's nothing fancy. It's just a regular swim bait hook. You can use whatever type you like. I don't even know the brand of this, but it's a little 1/8 ounce. Quarter ounce would have worked, but I was fishing about 3 and 4 feet of water, so this is all I needed. And then I took that beetle spin, which has got the clip on there. You can just take them off, and you can just rig them on any other swim bait. And you can see I have it tied there. The thing I like about a beetle spin is they always have that circle there. I don't know why other spinner baits don't do that, because that keeps the line from sliding up and down, which is a big pain for a lot of other spinner baits. But either way, that's all I did. That was it. I'm fishing this on almost a finesse combo. You can fish this on a medium light rod or a medium rod. This is actually a medium rod, 7 foot. I've got 10-pound braid on here, and this is my new favorite spinning reel. This is a Abu Garcia Revo, and man, this thing is like casting butter. I do like this thing a lot. But that's all you really need. Now, how am I working it in the water, and how am I working it through all that vegetation? Because it did come through the vegetation extremely well. Well, this is what I was doing when I was out on the water. All right, now how am I fishing this little thing here? You can see how I have it rigged up. Just a little jig head. I'm just going to cast it out. And I don't want it to sink, so I'm engaging the bail pretty quickly. I'm keeping my rod tip high, and I'm just reeling it nice and slow. I want to feel a little bit of vegetation, but I don't want to be down into it. If I feel like I'm getting too much vegetation, then I'm going to speed up how I'm retrieving. And if I don't feel any vegetation at all, I'm just going to slow it down. Just kind of manage it that way. And that's how I've been getting the bites that I've gotten today. Just all through there, just like that, cast it out. Again, I'm setting the bail pretty quickly because I don't want it to sink down, because we've got a lot of vegetation. And I don't want to be pulling it through that muck. So, and if I feel a lot of vegetation when I'm reeling, I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. And if I don't feel any at all, then I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. I want to tick the tops of that vegetation. And that's going to be your best success. That's going to be your best rates of success in fishing this presentation. So it wasn't rocket science. I made sure that my bait was coming through fairly high in the water, but I was still able to slow roll it, which was exactly what those bass were after. I caught so many bass that I lost count. Now, none of them are giants, but in the area that I was fishing, there probably wasn't any giants. There were a lot of buck males in there because, like I said, we're going through the spawn right now, and I don't believe these males were on bed, especially for how readily they bit that bait. I didn't have to mess with them. I didn't have to, monkey around trying to fish a bed. I just cast it out, reeled it in, caught a fish. But you don't necessarily have to rig it up the same way that I have it rigged up, Obviously, with the swim bait was a great start. It's something that I used, and it's something that worked for me very well. I ran out of those, so I switched to these, and that's, saltwater assassin, right? You can see that right there. This is a saltwater assassin swim bait. I do a lot of saltwater fishing for reds and specks in my area, and these are great, along with a cocoa, which obviously that would have worked just as well. The bass don't care. And you can also use something like a little pre-rigged swim bait. It's got the little weight in the bottom. This has got a little 1/8 ounce weight in the bottom of that. And you can clip that beetle spin blade on that. This has got a little bit different action in the water. It's got more of a fall, more of a glide, and you can actually go even slower with these and maintain them where you want them in the water column. Give them a stop, they'll fall down a little bit, and then give them a couple pops. You can vary that retrieve. And it doesn't even have to be a swim bait. A couple of other things that I was having success with was, well, this is a rage tail grub. I threaded it on sideways, like that, so you can mimic that fish's tail. And even though that water was stained, that ice color stood out very, very much. It was super striking how much this actually was visible to me, even from a good distance. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the reflective qualities of that are in the water, but it was almost spooky how well that glowed. But again, I didn't even stop there. You can go with an old Fat Albert grub. That's another amazing bait that you can use on the back of these and get great results. I mean, I don't know, I didn't try a craw or anything like that, but I imagine anything that has some kick, anything that's got some thump or some flap might work exceptionally well. So this was a swim bait hack that I used late last year, and I was having great success on it. And then the last time I went out to the lake, I'm telling you what, it paid dividends. I caught so many fish, I couldn't stop catching fish. I was actually surprised. And like I said, there were several other boats around me, and I watched them creep closer to me as I was catching fish, because out there in the open, you can't hide it. They're not monsters, but on days when you're just searching for a bite, and even still, I will take those pound and a quarter, pound and a half bass. I'll take those all day long, because as we say on this channel, we'll take a dink over a skunk any day. And with that bait, I was definitely getting way more bites than I thought I would. So there you have it. A simple swim bait hack that will make your presentation stand out to those fish. It doesn't matter if it's pressured, and it doesn't matter what the weather conditions are. It's going to attract those bass. Give it a try. I know you're going to love it. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.